In this video, I want to introduce you to Searchie. It's what I think is the best video hosting for people who are in business. It's going to be the best video hosting for course creators, the best video hosting for membership providers, service providers, and so on. I am hoping to share this as a business tool. It's not going to be anything like YouTube where you're trying to get an unknown audience. This is for people who want to provide information to a dedicated audience. And I think you'll understand better as we get inside. So why don't we just go ahead and do that? Hi, my name is William Beam with Suburbia Press, where we try to help small businesses and online entrepreneurs power up their business and understand the technology that helps them get there. So this is one of the tools that is key inside of my business, and it's called Searchie. It is a video hosting platform that allows people to search within the video. And that's something that you don't find on any other platform. So when I say search, it means that you can type in a keyword or phrase. Searchie will scour the video and find the exact spot where the word or phrase that you chose was entered. And it'll show you if it comes up more than once, and it will take you exactly to that spot. That's kind of like the core of what it was at the inception. Fortunately, Searchie has grown quite a bit since it first came out. It is now something that builds on videos, not just search, but also hubs, playlists, widgets for search, and much more that you can base your business off of Searchie. So I want to give you a little bit of an overview of it, and let's kind of take a look at what we see here. So this is the homepage for Searchie. You can see that it's good for podcasters, courses or memberships, coaches or consultants, marketing and sales, and basically education professionals. Used by thousands of content creators, and I'm one of them. I've been using this for about 1.5 years now, and I wish I'd started sooner when I first got into it. So what it does is it gives you a place that you can upload audio or video. It then transcribes the audio or video. So you've got a transcription or caption for your videos. If you're a podcaster like I am, then you've also got a transcription for people who want to read the show notes and go through it that way, and you can make those downloadable. If you want to pull out the audio from your video and make that as a downloadable as well, or maybe use that to upload to a podcast, you can do that as well. So basically, one of the key things that Searchie does with this transcription and audio service is it allows you to repurpose the content that you upload to it. And that's something that I do quite frequently. But that's not it. So when they talk about the world's first search engine for your video content, that's exactly what it is. And I think what we want to do is maybe get off the sales page here and show you inside of my particular hub and portal what I can do with it and also what you can do with it. So here we are. This is inside of my Searchie environment. And you can see this is the most recent media that I've uploaded. So you can see in here, I've got some of the things that I did for YouTube videos. I've got some of the things I did for courses. I've got podcast episodes that I've uploaded. And what I do with those as uploads, in my case, I've got a folder called transcribe. And that's the first thing I want to do, because although you can upload it to the place where you're going to be using it, I like to upload my podcast, for example, to a transcription service. So that way, on the date that my podcast comes out, I've already got the transcription in my show notes ready to go, rather than waiting for it to show up. So if you want to add media, you come over here to this little plus icon, and you can see that obviously you can upload, but also you can record. They have a Chrome extension, which will allow you to record video, kind of like if you're familiar with a service called Loom. If you want to just get on your Chrome browser, go through, you can record yourself, you can record your desktop, and that automatically goes up into Searchie. So we'll take a look at that in the future video. If you do Facebook Live, you can import that directly into Searchie. If you have videos on Vimeo Pro, you can bring those in, same with Wistia or Dropbox, Google Drive or OneDrive. If you do Zoom meetings, you can import those as well. Podcasts, this is something that I do regularly, is I have Apple Podcasts, and I bring those right in so that the day that they publish an Apple Podcast, it automatically imports that into Searchie. And of course, you have options for a lot of other things using Zapier. So if you need to go the middleware route, and I'd say other than what you see here, most of the integrations that you're going to need or want to do are probably going to happen through Zapier. There are a couple of exceptions for payment providers. It'll work with Stripe and PayPal, but Zapier will allow you to integrate with other cart providers and other services. So if we come over here to the menu, you can see that we have folders. So folders are just simply a place to organize your content. So I've got demo folders. I've got Face It as a course that I was working on. The Searchie browser extension is where you get the videos that come in from that Chrome browser I mentioned. Transcript uploads I mentioned. That's where the bulk of what I do, I use for transcriptions as well as some other things. And this is my podcast, I Like Your Picture, which I can also turn into a hub. If you notice this little lightning bolt, these are things that automatically come in. So for my Facebook group, that will automatically import. And then I Like Your Picture is my podcast for photography. That comes in automatically as well too. And then I've got some things like, for example, this LRC, Import, Organize, and Find. That's a course that I have, and I'm presenting that using Searchie. Because the nice part about that is if somebody's confused about a concept, they can go in and type a keyword and they can find the exact video and look for that information. Coming down next, you have playlists. So you're going to organize your videos or even audio, if that's what you're working with, into different playlists. So the folders are one thing. That's like structural organization. The playlists are from start to finish. So you can see I've got playlists for my course that are going along here. This is a playlist for a hub that I created, and it's kind of got a few different areas. And then this is for another course where I did on Luminar AI, a photography software program. And then I've got something that I use for a lead magnet. So the Lightroom portrait adjustment brushes, I give away some brushes for free, and then I add a few videos to go with it, teaching people how to use it. And it does a very good job as far as a lead magnet to bring people in. So you can have this information that you share publicly for free or privately, where you get their email address or you charge them an amount of money for it. Widgets are basically search bars that you can embed on different websites. So for example, if I want to search the podcast, I can click on this, and you can kind of customize this as far as what it says, the color, and then you can see there's a search bar here. And I can embed this on my WordPress website. You get embed code. Any place you can put HTML, you can embed this. So it's not limited to just WordPress sites. They do have a WordPress plugin in case you want to make it a little bit easier for you to work with things on your WordPress site. But you're going to be able to get information that you can add to pretty much any site. And if you come down here at the bottom, you see where it says embed, and then you'll see a little bit of code down here. So that's if you want to embed it. If you want to make it a pop-out widget, you can see where the height would come in, full height on slide in on the side, or maybe a little bit floating, and then you'll get different code. So there's an option that you can put on different sites. Hubs are really the big opportunity. So let's go to this one called Coachy Growth Academy. This is one that I did as part of a course. And what you're seeing here is that we're building out basically a website within Searchie. And you can have button links like these that'll go to a calendar, your monthly content, your Q&A. So for example, let's say that you have a weekly Zoom call or a monthly Facebook Live, whatever it may be. That could be your Q&A, and maybe that goes down into the What's New section. So there are your Q&A sessions as well. You can have these things where they go into different pages. I haven't built this one out yet, but what you can see is I click on that, I go to another page, and then maybe this would be something for part of a course. So you can kind of go back and forth through these things. You can see your stats if you have anybody that's working through this one. Again, since this is a demo, it's not really working as far as having people come inside. And then you can see the activity, which is only me. Over here on this column, you can determine your privacy. So you can see, is this going to be a private hub? You can turn that on, and that'll give you some other options. So I'm going to turn this off for right now, so I'll be able to show you that. Or you can have it public, so anybody can go in there and access it. And then you can check your download privacy. So do you want to allow people to download your videos, audio, or transcription? As I mentioned, you can repurpose your content. So you can upload a video, have it automatically transcribed, let people download the audio, let people download the transcription. So you have those options. Your audience is basically the name for the people who come in. So you can have it where registration is required. And this is one of those things where you say must be private to enable registration, which makes sense. If it's public, why would anybody need to register? They can just come in and do that. So let's click this onto private. We'll come down here, and then you can require registration. And then you can build this out the way that you'd like it. You'll see there's a little customize button down here at the bottom. So let's save that. And then this gives you the opportunity to kind of build out how these different pages are going to look. And you can have your header, which is this area over here. You can change the colors. You can change your logo, the height. You can decide if the search bar is going to be on or off. Usually because of the nature of Searchie, I like to leave that on because that's kind of the first thing people look for is like, how do I search for what I want to find? And then if you want to have an input field, it says search here. You can change that for whatever you want to. Let's go back. Then your welcome CGA is this section right over here. You can have a button that starts off. You can have a call to action that is this section over here. So you've got different buttons, basically enticing people to do something. What's new is a section. This is essentially a playlist. And then you can see here it says edit playlist. So you can choose from various playlists that you've created. And then you can choose how you sort it. And also you can choose who gets to see this. So if you look here where it says hub audience settings, we haven't created any audience settings yet, but basically that brings us back here to, do we want to determine that there are people with certain tags that are available to view that? The audience tags allow you to turn off or turn on or display or not display various content. Think about it kind of like a Netflix kind of interface. And if you had a video service like that where you've bought things, they will show up. If you haven't, they will not show up, even though they're here. So in the background, you might see everything. But for the customer, they only see what they have an audience tag to see. And then they can take actions that might allow them to see other playlists as you go along. So you can fill this up with playlists. You can have different pages with playlists on them. It's really quite interesting as far as how you can build this site out. Now, it's not a complete blog. For example, there is no blogging component of this. Right now, there is no discussion group, although those are things that are on the roadmap to be considered to add in here. There is quite an active community on Facebook. There is a roadmap showing what's been requested, what's planned, what's in progress, and what's been completed. And it just kind of, it makes you realize that this is continuing to grow. So when I say that this is the best video hosting for entrepreneurs, this is the reason why. Something that started off as video search has grown into a community and a place where you can actually publish your own site for memberships or courses without having to do a lot of work, without having to buy a lot of different pieces and plugins to put together. And it integrates, as I said, mostly through Zapier, which is going to be an additional cost if you're running a business, but that is kind of the cost of doing business for a lot of things. You're going to end up either paying for a lot of WordPress plugins or you're going to end up paying for some integration services. I'm not a big fan of Zapier. I wish this would integrate with some other things, but that is where we are right now. And I think that in the future, there probably will get some other integrations. I'm hoping for an integration with Wishlist Member, for example. And I think there are opportunities here for future integrations down the road, but they had to start somewhere, and Zapier did make sense. Zapier integrates with so many other services. It was a way to get things going right away with a lot of integration. So I understand why that came along. One of the differences that you're going to find with Searchie compared to something like YouTube is an ad-free environment. So in other words, this isn't designed where you put something up and hope anybody will come along. Maybe you make some side money showing them advertisements. This is private video hosting. The only thing that shows on your videos are what you put on your videos. So there's no interruptions from ads, whether you're monetized or not. YouTube is starting to show ads on non-monetized channels now. So I think there's some other options here. When you're doing a course for someone who's paid for it, you don't want it to be interrupted by ads. Also, you don't want it to be on a URL that someone else can get access to without having paid for it. So that's one of the reasons why we've got the privacy over here. So it does a very good job of locking down your paid content. You also get good analytics. So in other words, you can add in your Google Tag Manager, you can add in your Google Analytics, you can put a Facebook pixel on here, and you can see who's coming into and what they're doing and how they're interacting with your video content, your audio content. As far as a domain, you don't have to use it with their domain. You can make a subdomain off of any domain you own. So for example, I've got suburbiapress.com. I could create, let's say, portal.suburbiapress.com and have my hub activated over here. So That way it gives your audience kind of a seamless view if you're already running another website, or maybe that's just a domain you want to attach to it. You get your own branding from your own domain. If you are going to work with something public, you're going to want some search engine optimization so you can see the most important things here. You're going to have your title, your description, your keywords. You can put up your thumbnails for people to find. You can decide if search indexing is going to be on or off. In this case, I have it disabled because this is just a demo thing. I don't really want people coming in here and finding this. It wouldn't do them any good, nor would it do me any good. Now, as far as payments, you can enable payments on a private site. Again, on public, there's no need for payment, so this won't even turn on. And you can see here that you can configure in Stripe, and also you can configure in PayPal. Another thing that is built in here are emails, and that's kind of important. So if you need to send somebody an email, if you need to send them a magic link so they can get in, or a password reset, you have emails for that. And you can say who it's coming from, who the reply to is, and then there are different templates in here that you can go back and edit. So it's good that you've got some communication from within the portal. For analytics, you can come down here to analytics and you can see who's been searching, what they've been looking for. And I'm going to keep this kind of simple because since I don't really use hubs for my content, what I'm doing is I'm putting my courses in Searchie and then embedding them inside of LearnDash on a WordPress site. But I'm thinking about switching that up to start using hubs. So you can go in here and see how many people have visited, what are they searching for, and within a particular time period, you can search based upon media, folders, widgets, playlists, hubs, specific keywords. So you've got quite a lot of information over here. You can even say what kind of devices are people using to search on. And you can see how many things are people playing as a result of their searches, what are the media files that they're finding, and what kind of browsers are they working in here. And again, for me, this isn't really very large because I'm not having a large audience in here. Now, as far as an audience, I'm going to click on this. I'm probably going to have to blur most of it out. The people that are on this list, which if I do this right, you won't see, are people who are in my courses, but they're not coming in through Searchie Hub. So in other words, I've got them in my audience, but they're not interacting through Searchie. They're interacting through my LearnDash Hub. But it's kind of interesting as far as what you can do. You can break them down into segments. So I don't have any yet, so I can create a segment. And basically, let's say the test site that I was working on, I want to create a segment called Coachy. And then now I can determine conditions and criteria. Let's say maybe they're in the hub. So anyone who's in that hub would be within this filter group. And that way I can easily find and determine the people who are related to a given hub. And you can see from there where you may want to have them. You can export them off to a CSV file if you want to. And you can also see what kind of activity they have. So let me go back. And on this one, I'm clicking on the three people here are all me, and I'm not interacting as each one of these things. So I can click on an individual person, and I can get just a quick look. How many times have they visited? How many times have they played? Are they creating searches? Have they completed anything? How's my retention? How's my rating? And I can just kind of look at their profile. So I can add in information. I can add tags, and that's kind of how we give them audience tags to see where do they reside or what can they see. What do they have access to? Again, what activity and what stats. So all of this is empty because I'm not using this account on Searchie. One of the benefits of having Searchie doing transcription and providing the transcription or the caption, depending on how you want to look at it, it increases consumption of the video. If you're playing the video along, you can turn on or off the caption. But sometimes people kind of multitask, but if they have that little caption playing on the bottom, it helps them get a little bit more engaged within the video. So that's something that a lot of video sources can show a caption, but they don't create it. So that's an outside service or time that they have to spend in order to do it. Searchie does that automatically for you. It's integrating with Rev, which is a popular transcription service. And it's giving you an automatic transcription. I don't remember the exact details. I think it's like 85% accurate. What I've found is it does a very good job, but in my case, I have some technical terms or some product terms that it doesn't know about. There is a custom vocabulary. So if I come over to my settings, and I go over to transcriptions, and I can choose my language of transcription. It handles many different languages, none of which I understand other than US English. And you can select a vocabulary to edit, and I think they give you up to 100 different words you can put in here. So for example, this effects. There's a software product I use, and it has a number of products that is like color effects, black and white effects or silver effects. And they spell it this way. So when effects is something I pronounce, I want it to use this word. Elenchrom is the name of a lighting vendor for photography. Flickr is a website. Godox is another lighting, flash and strobe kind of vendor. And Lee is my wife. You could spell Lee this way, or you could spell it Lea. I just want to make sure it's spelled Lee. That's just one less thing I need to go back and transcribe. So most of these are products that I use inside of my photography business. And I can say that vocabulary as I come up with more, then I can go ahead and add them in there. Now, here's the thing about the vocabulary. You need to have the word in place before you upload a video. So in other words, if you've already uploaded videos and add something here, it's not going to go back and correct the transcription. Put it in place here first, then upload your videos. And from there on out, it will pick up these words and put them in the transcription so you don't have to go back and edit them. So that's a nice little feature to have. You can change your player settings. So you've got all the controls. You can choose the timeline. Do you want to show a progress bar? Do you want to show chapters or not? Do you want to show the duration, the content time? And you can really customize this into being your own player. So there's a lot of options here. And you can even, this is where you set your download privacy for, are you going to allow video downloads or not? Are you going to allow people to share things or not? And do you want to allow people to search the transcription? There are so many things we could look through here. What I would like to say is that Searchie has really changed the way I do business. It is not just the best video hosting that I found. It is like having a digital personal assistant. It does the transcription for me. It does separation of audio and video for me. It allows me to repurpose the content that I've uploaded to it and use in multiple places. And that is something that I think would cost me a lot more money per year to have an assistant or other services do things for me, in addition to the video hosting and the hubs and so forth, than if I didn't have it. So when you look at pricing for Searchie, keep that in mind. It is a professional business tool, and there is a free 7-day trial period. I would urge you to try that out. Take a look. There are different plans, and within the different plans, you're going to find that there are limitations on the first 2 plans. I'm using the business plan, which gives me the most value for my money. I have, like I said, I've been using this for a year and a half, which means obviously I renewed after my first year because I found so much value in it. If you're in business, this is a tool that I think you really owe it to yourself to check out. So I'm going to put a link in the description below, but you can go to suburbiapress.com/Searchie, and that will give you a good look at what's there. Try the free trial. It's 7 days. Have some videos, upload them, see how they look, play with the hubs, see about creating your own hub. So when you get that free trial, you're going to be able to do pretty much everything you want to do. Now, the idea behind this is for businesses. It is for course creators. It's for podcast hosts. It's for membership providers. This is not comparable to YouTube. And so please don't measure it against YouTube. They serve different purposes. But as far as business users, I think this is the best video hosting you're ever going to find. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I would be happy to tell you, how do you work a hub? How do you integrate some things? I'm going to have more videos coming out on how to work things within Searchie. And remember, it's growing. There is an active development community. There's an active user participation community. And we're always teaching each other new things. And I think that it's also a very nice group of fellow customers and users to be involved with. So I think that's something they've done very, very well here. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me today. Again, my name is William Beam with suburbiapress.com. If you like this video, please go ahead, click like. That lets the YouTube overlords know that I've done something right. They'll share this with more people. I would appreciate it if you subscribe and click the bell notification icon so you know the next time I put a video out. And as I said, I'll be putting out more videos on Searchie and some other tools for small business folks. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next video.